What the f?
Hello YouTube, welcome to Bold Writing Reviews. This week we're going to explore From, a series about people trapped in a mysterious town while nightmare creatures torment them once the sun sets. Light spoiler warning for season 1 only. While preparing my next video, I came across this show. It's from the executive producers of Lost. I decided to check it out because the first season was due to be removed from Prime, and so this was just supposed to be purely enjoyment to see if I would like the show or not. Within the first 2 episodes, I realized that this needed to be a video. This is perfectly paired with the Last of Us video, where every element I can think of is perfectly executed. For this one, many elements are poorly done, and the similarities between the 2 shows seem like a great way to highlight the importance of characters. For The Last of Us, I focused on the character work, with work referring to how the characters interact with one another. For this video, I want to focus on the design of the characters. Having the characters interact with one another in meaningful and believable ways is a skill in and of itself. But the start of the skill is in designing the characters. For the purposes of this review, I'm only going to go over the characters of the new family in town, the Matthews. We'll analyze how their design resulted in a slower opening in the first half of this season. The pace does speed up later on, so the focus here is how best to use the characters that the show writers have created. I'm also going to sporadically include positives to be fair, because even with the problematic elements, the show is still very engaging. The one exception to my issue with the character design is Victor. He's by far the most interesting character, which allows him to bypass many of the issues the other characters face.
He's creepy, but he's harmless.
Like with The Last of Us, From appears to be more about interpersonal relationships rather than the interesting world the characters live in. To be clear, in From, they're not technically in a post-apocalyptic world, but more like a pocket universe that plays out the same as an apocalypse. By the way, the pocket universe and the creatures that occupy it are incredibly fascinating. The concept drew me in more than anything else. So let's start with Mom, Tabitha Matthews. Her character is designed to be Mom.
What happened to Mom? Because no matter how grown up you are, you're always going to be my little girl.
Next, we have Dad, Jim Matthews. His character is designed to be Dad.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Hopefully my point is clear already. These are generic characters. They don't have anything going for them beyond their generic roles. The sister is the typical big sister.
Yeah, sometimes life is hard, kid.
And the brother is the typical little brother.
Mom, Julie killed Norman!
They get along exactly as everyone would suspect, and the worst part of these designs is that no one would question why Mom is so caring. Our dad's so silly, our sister so snarky, or brother so whiny. There is no getting to know them, nothing to pique the audience's interest. The biggest issue these designs have is that they cause the pacing of the show to slow down dramatically. So there may be some writers out there who see generic characters as automatically negative, but that isn't the case. When it comes to writers doing their job, it's not that certain elements have to be handled a specific way. We have everything in our arsenal. So the only question should be, will this allow the desired effect? Generic characters aren't automatically a bad thing. They're great for when pace needs to be quick, or the focus is on a different element. And there are some other reasons as well that someone may choose to go the generic route. For this show though, the generic characters would have been awesome if the focus was on world building, but the focus is on characters. As stated before, where The Last of Us handles characters well, From does not. The Last of Us is a slow-built show that has more of a focus on the interpersonal relationships. From tries to do the same thing, but their generic characters makes passing time feel so much slower. I'm not positive, but it feels like they wanted to leave some room for the character's past to be discovered. This is all fine and good if true, but the way to correct this would have been to not spend so much time with the interactions in the beginning. The pace with the family should have been much, much quicker while they're generic. Once the writers start divulging secrets and setting up interesting interactions, then more attention should be placed on the characters. That would allow the pacing to feel consistent throughout the show. The family could have first been shown coming to a stop during the funeral. For everything we learned about them in the previous scenes, nothing would have been lost in doing it this way. I would even say this in considering the downed tree and crows. Yes, they would have to be edited out, but it would be worth it for the quicker pace. And when Donna explains the situation to Mom, then a flashback to them seeing the tree and crows would provide the audience this necessary information. So, I do want to add something here. I focus only on writing since that's where my skills lie, but I do have to say that Elizabeth Saunders, who plays Donna Raines, has some serious acting skills, in my uneducated opinion. Her character is just as flat and generic as the others, but every time she's on screen, she sells every line.
It's been 3 years, 6 months, and 17 days. And I can still hear my sister screaming in my head. I am grieving the fact that you guys are so caught up in playing Mr. fucking Wizard that you can't see what this place is going to become when you fail.
All in all, the only reason I'm invested in this show is the concept. I missed out on the Lost phenomenon, but I'm assuming the hook works the same way. Very confusing and fascinating things keep happening, and the audience is hooked. And for that reason only. If you enjoyed this review, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.